my humble background being in philosophy, politics, and economics, and studying these subjects together gave me certain perspectives, and then becoming part of, witnessing student politics in JNU during the CA movement, what became very evident for me, especially in a campus like JNU, that the ideals of secularism, liberalism, decoloniality, devoid of context and specificity, they do not, create realities that they are supposed to suggest intellectually. Secularism has been that ideal for a long time. For almost, a few hundred years, the secular ideal has forced proportionate or forced creation of institutions, even like nation state, in which certain kinds of interactions between different kinds of identities are imagined and certain impacts and effects expected. But as we live in 21st century, we are living in a far right global world order. Everybody is out for killing each other. Where do you think secularism as an idea has failed? Starting with, what do you think secularism is?
So I don't believe that there is secularism is a kind of unique formation in India, as many people now do. That was first said by Radhakrishnan, and then Amartya Sen said it, and now there's a whole infantry of academics who follow them. And that view is that secularism in India is just a kind of neutrality between different religions, or sort of neutral distinction. And Radhakrishnan, let's call it the Radhakrishnan Sen view, and is I think not right. I mean, if you look carefully at the Constituent Assembly debates, it doesn't capture what actually happened in Indian history of that period. And but it keeps getting repeated, and even judges after particular cases make pronouncements of that kind. But that's not my view. I don't think it's accurate. Keeps faith with constitutional history in India. So my view is that secularism is a political doctrine. It's a doctrine which tries to keep religion out of a direct influence. Indirect influence nobody can stop, because it depends on all sorts of practices and so on. But keep religion from having a direct bearing on institutions of state and the polity generally, political institutions generally. How it does so is, in my view, takes the following form. I call it a lexicographical conception of, or lexicographical ordering conception of secularism, which helps to bring out clearly and cleanly what secularism was always intended to be anyway. And that is that in democratic societies, you have certain commitments to freedom of religious practice and belief. People should be allowed to believe in any God they like, any doctrine they like, and commit various practices, which their religion requires. So there's a certain amount of freedom granted, a commitment to freedom of religion, in both doctrine or belief and practices, cultural practices, rituals, etc. Forms of dress, things like that. Now, that's one commitment. And then there's another commitment to certain general constitutional principles. And those principles are very well known. But the most well known of them is things like free speech, and freedom of worship falls within that. But free speech is one such principle, and it was always grounded. So there's certain constitutional principles, and they don't mention religion or opposition to religion. They just neutrally. So let's take free speech, which is the most, it's adopted by all liberal democratic societies. And in other societies, such as, say, the Soviet Union, you might have different principles. You may not have to, maybe principles about private property not being allowed and so on. So anyway, so you have some principles, constitutional principles, and they don't particularly mention religion or opposition to religion. They're new. And then what I call the crucial step in secularism is a third principle, which is about these two principles, and which says if there's a clash between these two, if somebody's religious practices, for instance, clash with these principles, such as, say, free speech, then the constitutional principles, which should be placed prior to them, and the practices should be placed second. So only if there's a clash should one not allow the religious practices. Only if there's a clash with some constitutional principles should one not allow the religious practices or beliefs to be. But otherwise, religious practices should be allowed to flourish. But if they clash with, say, principles of free speech, etc., then the free speech ones comes first.